Hi, I'm Farah Lanzer.
And I'm Mary Francis.
And we are your Women Give co-chairs. Thank you so much for joining us for the 15th annual luncheon and our first ever virtual Women Give luncheon. We so appreciate your support.
All of our events are made possible by the generosity of our mission sponsors: Colorado State University Women in Philanthropy, the Group Real Estate, and UC Health. Their generous donation allows all events to be free for WomenGive, and that your support goes directly to our program.
We are thrilled to share with you today the inspiring stories of our WomenGive scholarship recipients and all of the challenges that they overcame this past year, even before the pandemic began. The theme of this year's luncheon is Persevere, and you have done just that. This year has definitely been one for the books, and it's been extremely challenging for single mothers in our community and our WomenGive scholarship recipients. We'll be sharing photos and stories on the WomenGive Facebook and Instagram pages, and we'd also love if you would tag us and share your own photos. If you haven't already, please like us on Facebook and make sure to follow us on Instagram for updates on our scholarship recipients and also event updates.
Thank you for sharing WomenGive's message today with our community. You are true champions for WomenGive and for single mothers in our community. As someone who grew up in a single-parent household, I often wonder how my mom would have benefited from a program like WomenGive, and how I could have had more opportunity and less challenges. Now, I don't regret anything, but I do think that a community is always stronger when you're supporting the foundation of women and children. And while we didn't have very much money when my husband and I started Francis Home Mortgage, one of the first things we did was become a business member. I know the impacts of generosity. I know the strength of our community, and I'm honored to be part of that.
This upcoming spring semester 2021 alone, you are supporting 26 single mothers and 37 children access high-quality childcare. Because of the generosity of our WomenGive members and supporters, we have been able to respond to a steady amount of applications for childcare scholarships this academic year, as well as an incredible spike in the need for emergency assistance. In a typical semester, we would receive a handful of emergency assistance requests, usually under a total of $2,000. In total, since 2006, WomenGive has awarded just over $60,000 in emergency assistance. Nearly 50%, or half of that total amount, has been awarded just since March 2020, with just over $30,000 in emergency assistance requests in the last 10 months. Your support has allowed us to respond in critical ways to WomenGive recipients when other resources for emergency funding have been exhausted.
Our membership is a driving force of WomenGive's success. We could not do it without our committed business and individual members. WomenGive is a program of the United Way of Larimer County, and we are so proud of the work that it is doing to help support local families. In 2006, some amazing women in our community, our charter members, met with local nonprofits, education leaders, and government to find out what the biggest barriers were for women and families in our community. They discovered that the high cost of childcare was impeding women from going back to school. The Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, CCAP, only funded working women at that point, not women who were going back to school to get an associate's or a bachelor's degree. That is still true today.
My name is Nissa DePalma, and I'm going to be the next success story. I'm a single mom of identical twin boys who just turned 3, and the stress for me was astronomical. But WomenGive has been a beacon of hope for me throughout this year, but also since I became a single mother. When I was 9 years old, I was put into foster care. I was a very confused child. I moved from foster home to foster home, and I didn't know what was going on. My last foster home became my family. My kids call them Grammy and Granddad, and their biological sons are my brothers. That didn't stop me from making mistake after mistake. For some reason, I always choose the more difficult path to learn from the mistakes that I make. In fact, my family almost gave up on me on more than one occasion. After years of feeling lost and abandoned, I found out I was pregnant. When I saw that I had 2 heartbeats on the ultrasound, I was shocked. Here I was, 23 years old. My life was a mess, and now all of a sudden I had 2 small children to care for. For me, that's when everything changed. It wasn't my life that mattered anymore. I had to take care of these 2 children. The father stayed around for a little bit, but when the boys were 4 months old, he left. I think that he just couldn't handle the twins or maybe being a father. I had matured and he hadn't. I started working at Subway, and when I was working at Subway, I realized that this just isn't gonna work. In society today, unfortunately, minimum wage just doesn't cut it. So with my children as my inspiration, I looked into college. And so this is where Women Give comes in. So I looked into resources and I found actually Project Self-Sufficiency. They did tell me about Women Give.
So back in 2006, when WomenGive was founded, there were a handful of group women who became charter members and jumped right in to get that started. And so since then, the group has now 50 WomenGive members, many of whom are or were single parents. And so they understand what a difference it makes to have family or friends and other resources to help them launch their career or further their education. As a parent, knowing that your children are taken care of and supportive is everything. It allows you to go out and achieve your goals. WomenGive has grown from a collective passion of wanting to make a difference in the lives of women in need in Lamar County to an organization of over 500 members collectively saying, "We believe in you." Since 2006, WomenGive has provided childcare scholarships to 334 single mothers, supporting 404 children with quality early childhood education and before and after school care. With this dual generation approach, we're supporting the education and development of both parent and child. We know that a college education dramatically increases a woman's lifetime earning potential. Yet with the average cost of childcare over $14,000 per year per child and rising, this obstacle can quickly derail a single mother's efforts to pursue a degree. Even if childcare slots are available, the financial impact is significant, as the average cost for childcare in Lamar County is nearly $1,200 per month per child. Single-family parents in our community generally spend nearly 50% of their income on childcare. We consistently hear that the support of WomenGive through childcare scholarships helps our recipients stay in school, but they also speak to the intangible support that's not monetary. The knowledge that there are literally hundreds of people invested in their success and yet have never met them is so powerful. WomenGive is just an amazing organization, and the women at the group see that, and they see the opportunity to help women further their education and launch those careers. And so it really speaks to their own hearts to be able to be a part of that. And it just goes back to the core value of the group with philanthropy and community and serving the people the community that we live in.
So our funding model for early care and education is really flawed. As a nation, as a community, we have gaps between what people can qualify for government support and what the costs are. There's really a classic market failure in the sector of early care and education, and WomenGive's been able to come in an innovative way and plug in for both the cliff that exists for families and women in particular when they make just a little bit over that wage that qualifies them for government support, or that gap between what they get from the government if they qualify and what they can afford out of pocket. When the tuition for early childhood education exceeds tuition at our university, we have an issue. And I think WomenGive for 15 years has shown how to be relevant and how to plug into those those gaps and meet the needs of families who are trying to pay for care. When you look at mounds and mounds of research about the single link in ending generational poverty, ending abuse, neglect, and this is globally, this isn't just here in the United States, the number one variable is education. The gratitude I have for the pioneers who've been part of this WomenGive initiative and program and just all that it's become is so immense. I mean, I'm honored and proud to be among them, and I think just recognizing what they saw 15 years ago, and now as a community, we can't ignore this critical area of focus for our kids, for our families, women in particular, and our whole economy. And really, when you look at those things of child well-being, family health and stability, and economic vitality, that's community. That's what we are. And I think the people who've been part of WomenGive and who started it saw that long ago. And I'm just beyond grateful that we're here today.
With 15 years of history, there is so much we could share with you to celebrate all of the milestones we have seen.
WomenGive was established in 2006 through the generosity of 73 charter members, and we began our partnership with the Women's Foundation of Colorado with an annual gift supporting public policy and advocacy efforts. In 2013, we celebrated our $1 million impact, having awarded over $1 million in child care scholarships. In 2017, our 100th graduate walked across the stage earning her degree. 2018 was a banner year, growing to 500 WomenGive members, crossing over $500,000 in support to the Women's Foundation of Colorado, and establishing our WomenGive endowment through gifts from charter members and an incredibly generous planned gift from WomenGive charter member Prue Cayley. Since March 2020, we have awarded over $32,000 in emergency assistance to scholarship recipients juggling their own remote college courses, homeschooling their children, and with the financial impact of reduced work hours, the need for emergency assistance grew exponentially. This academic year alone, we have awarded over $240,000 in childcare scholarships.
Since the inception of WomenGive, we have always supported our core program of providing childcare scholarships to single moms pursuing higher education. In addition to our core program, we have also been able to support special projects like the Women in College project at Front Range Community College, matching support to the Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative through Project Self-Sufficiency, tuition assistance for income-qualified families at the CSU Early Childhood Center, and an endowed scholarship at Colorado State University for early childhood educators. Women are the co- or sole breadwinners for nearly half of the families in Colorado. Their economic success lifts families and communities for multiple generations. The self-sufficiency wage for one adult and one school-aged child in Larimer County is over $55,000. This is for basic needs like food, housing, and childcare, and does not account for any extras like savings, incidental expenses like a car repair, or even extras for kids like field trips.
My daughter Athena is 3 going on 4. She has a wild personality, wanting to pursue higher education, had a lot to do with becoming a single parent. When I was searching online for scholarships, WomenGive popped up, and right away I seen that there were opportunities for me as a single parent. I plan to go into law school and find a job within the legal field. WomenGive has supported me in my journey by assisting me with the funding for childcare that I very much need so that I can remain in school. I have been able to get the grades I want and pursue the classes that benefit me, not only educational wise, but on a personal level. I think WomenGive is an important program because it recognizes those individuals that truly deserve it and may not know that they deserve it. To those that contribute to Women Give and recipients like me, I want to say that you are that glimmer of hope.
The mission of Women Give and the mission of UC Health, I think it aligns, as I mentioned, along that mission of we improve lives, right? And that's the intersect, that's the important aspect of why Women Give is so important to UC Health. I actually started going to school as a single parent in Wyoming, and the same programs really weren't available. So childcare was a huge barrier for me. I relied a lot on family, community members, and honestly, public programs to help me achieve, my education. To be a first-generation college graduate was huge. I mean, my family was so very proud of me. It really meant that I had options. I had options to achieve, a goal, a career, which many people don't if they don't achieve that college education. And so it really gave me options, I would say. It gave me choices, and it certainly gave my children choices. If I would have had assistance with a child care scholarship while I was going to school, I think it would have made life a lot less stressful. I wouldn't have had to work as much, and probably could have spent a lot more time with my children. Certainly they're a priority, and but you also have to make school a priority if you're actually going to, get a job and make a better life for your family. What motivated me to go to school in the first place, growing up in a family really that did not have the focus of a college degree, first and foremost, really was just that. It was knowing that that was really my vehicle to achieving, some sort of economic stability and wanting to make a better life for my family. I ran across a photo about 6 months ago of me at the table with my two daughters, and we were absolutely studying together, and I think it just took me back in time to how the average college student, they had to balance sort of work and school and social life. And for me, it was really about balancing, kids, school, and making sure that their needs were met. And I just remember that, it was such a different reality, and it just took me back in time. What I would say to scholarship recipients, going to school, taking care of their children, be proud of yourself. You're doing a lot, and you're going to accomplish a lot. And when you look back on this, you're just gonna feel so proud. And so hang in there and just be proud.
I am a sophomore. This is my second year at Ames Community College in Greeley. I'm also taking classes through Front Range online class. Some of my biology class I'm doing, so I'm kind of doing two different schools at the same time. And I'm going for my bachelor's in applied science for surgical tech program. Long term, I'm hoping to be able to work in a hospital setting, something that's more, upbeat, keeps you on your feet, and hopefully have a good impact on my children watching me as I'm going to school. Something just clicked in me one day, and I said, there's still more out there. I was almost 40 years old, and I'm like, there has to be more. I was starting to become unhappy with the career that I was in, just because I topped out where I could go. I was able to get my GED, enroll for school, and start classes all within an 8-week period. So I think that was one of my biggest accomplishments. I hadn't been in high school, in over 20 years, and I was able to study the material, take the test, and pass all within less than a month. So that was a really proud moment for me, because I had a goal and I was set. And they would tell me, well, the GED typically takes about a year, refresh, especially the longer you've been out of school. And I said, oh no, that's not an option. So I was very headstrong on getting that done, and I was very surprised with even myself that I was able to do it. I have 3 children. My oldest is almost 21, and then my son is almost 10, and my youngest daughter is 4.5. Being a single parent is definitely has your challenges, and so the fact that I'm able to continue working with them, 3 children, 2 of them which are still in school, was remote, and then doing school on top of that and working full time. Sometimes I don't even realize how I'm doing it each and every day. You just really have to take it one day at a time. And fortunately, even though it was kind of chaotic with everything that happened during 2020, the school itself still made it easy to where you could transition, from in class to online. And I really just had to take it one day at a time and take a deep breath every single day and know that it will come to an end eventually. My daughter was the first in our generation to actually start going to college. She went to college first. I wanted to be a good role model for my kids and let them see that even later on in life, you still can start school and finish with something and have a career as well. I wouldn't have gotten through it if it wasn't for the support of both the school as well as the WomenGive grant. They reach out through mail, they reach out through email, they call you just to check in on you. So if it wasn't for that, it'd be incredibly difficult without the support of that. I also have really good support from my kids, even my youngest at the age of 4, who sees me doing homework every single day. And just knowing that you're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for them also really keeps you going. They know they have homework, they know mom has homework. So them watching me, focus and make sure and get that stuff done, it gives them the drive to want to do the same. WomenGive means everything. It means literally being the difference between being able to go to school and not being able to go to school, making it to where my children are able to get, a good education at the same time. My daughter goes to a preschool now. She's 4.5, and so she's in that preschool pre-K setting. So she's able to get that learning environment, whereas if I wasn't united with WomenGive, I wouldn't be able to give her that until she was able to start kindergarten. So it gave her a little bit of a jump start as well. So it doesn't just help myself, but my children as well.
I was honestly shocked by how awesome this program is. I do have a family, and I know a lot of people use their family as childcare. However, my parents are 71 years old, and so taking care of 2 small children just wasn't gonna work. WomenGive gave me the childcare that I needed in order to pursue college. When I became a single mom, I was at one of my lowest points. WomenGive gave me hope, and with that hope came the strength to persevere. I knew that I wanted to help people, but I also knew that being a social worker would probably hit just too close to home. So ultimately, I decided that I wanted to be a probation officer. As of December 2021, I'll have finished my 2-year degree, and this time next year, I'll be at CSU starting my bachelor's in criminal justice. My boys are 3 now, and I just can't believe it. In fact, I just moved them into their big boy beds. In a few years, they're gonna be in 1st grade, and that's gonna be the time that I'm actually going into the workforce. If you had told me 5 years ago that I would have kids, be going to school, and be an upstanding member of society, I would have laughed right in your face. I wanted more. I wanted more for my kids than what I got. I teach my kids a lot of things, and the daycare teaches them even more. At parent-teacher conferences, I found out that my kids are the only ones who know the entire alphabet and can recognize all of the letters. Being a single parent is really hard, but being a single parent of multiple kids is even harder. WomenGive has made it possible for me to have childcare and pursue my dream. I want to say thank you to my family for your support. And I also want to say thank you to WomenGive. Thank you for the letters in the mail showing your support, the hardworking staff members, the always being available to answer my questions, and most importantly, helping others just like me to achieve their dreams.
Our mission for Colorado State University's Women in Philanthropy is to connect and empower a community to elevate women in philanthropy at CSU. And to me, that fits perfectly with the mission of WomenGive, which is all about helping women achieve financial sustainability and achieve their educational goals, which of course aligns great with Colorado State University and educational institution. There's been a lot of research out there in the world of philanthropy about women's role in giving and the increasing importance that it has taken on. And women make a difference and an impact in a unique and different way that is really reshaping our world. And one of the ways that studies have shown women like to get involved in philanthropic endeavors is as a network, as a community, by joining together and the synergy that comes from making a difference by working together. I love that model of philanthropy and what it represents. And so we wanted to, at CSU, create something that would help recognize that place that women hold in our philanthropic world. And also, it was partially a response to, at the time, President Tony Frank had issued a challenge to Colorado State University's community to make it the best place for women to learn and work. And what an inspirational challenge, what an inspirational mission that is. And so by sort of harnessing that power of philanthropy to help elevate women and their place in our community, that was the goal of Women in Philanthropy. When I think about access to education, and I think about women in particular, I think about how far we have come and how much farther we have to go in creating a more equitable and just world in many ways, but in education in particular. My own personal view that the potential of our world to be a better place lies in the leadership and inspiration of women. As a parent of a son, I want him to be able to live in and contribute to a world that is more equitable and just. And we aren't going to get there unless we are all moving together and we're not leaving women behind. We can't do that. Well, the Greek definition of philanthropy is love of humankind, and I really can think of no better definition than that. It is having and demonstrating through your acts, whether that be giving of your time, giving of your treasure, giving of your talent back to make a difference in someone else's life. That's what philanthropy means. You know, the recipients of this scholarship have so much to be proud of, and the future that they're creating for themselves and for their families is unlimited, and that's what education can do, is unlock that unlimited potential for the future. So keep going.
I am so fortunate to be the WomenGive director at United Way of Larimer County, and I'm also a WomenGive member myself. For those of you that are considering becoming a WomenGive member, there's a place for all of us in this WomenGive community, and we're so grateful you're here.
Being a WomenGive member is extremely important to me. When I graduated from college and got my big girl job, it was really important to be able to give back, and I knew that I wanted to give back to an organization that supported women. WomenGive was a natural fit. I've had so much fun working with the amazing volunteers of WomenGive, and I'm so honored now to be your co-chair.
WomenGive's support of child care scholarships is critical to the success of single mothers and their children in Larimer County.
Today, we invite you to make a difference in the lives of our scholarship recipients by becoming a WomenGive member. An individual WomenGive membership is $500 per year. Most of our members choose to pay their $500 annual gift on a monthly basis. This comes out to be $41.67 per month, or less than $10 per week.
Corporate partners, small business owners, and entrepreneurs can join as a WomenGive business member for those interested in additional recognition and networking opportunities. Your $1,000 annual gift includes a single individual membership for a representative of your business.
While our members are the driving force of WomenGive, we encourage gifts of any size, knowing that everything raised today will help our mission and single moms like Nisa and Michelle. If you intend to support WomenGive year after year and want to continue your membership without having to renew, check Automatically Renew My Membership at the same amount each year on the giving page. WomenGive will automatically renew your gift at the same amount each year until you request a change.
Thank you again to our mission sponsors who make this event and all events possible by underwriting the costs so your donation can go directly to supporting women and children in our community. Thank you, Colorado State University Women in Philanthropy, the group Real Estate, and UC Health. We couldn't do this without you.
And thank all of you for celebrating the perseverance of all of our WomenGive recipients and for your amazing support of our WomenGive program. Your gift today will make a tremendous impact in the lives of children and families in Larimer County. Thank you.
I couldn't have done it without them, their support. It literally feels like you have an extra family right beside you, walking you through each thing, any issues you have, any problems.
There are people out there who want better, they want more, they want to work hard and do better. So I just want to say thank you for supporting me and helping me and all the rest of the recipients that rely so much on WomenGive.